The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the 19th installment in the series. It was developed for the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch and was released worldwide on both the Wii U and the Switch on March 3rd, 2017. The game was a huge hit and certainly helped the new console of Nintendo, the Switch, a lot since the game was one of the launch titles, if not the only worthy launch title there was. At this point in time, there are more than 4.7 million copies of the game out there in the world, entertaining a lot of people. A lot of people fell in love with the game, and most reviewers either gave it a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10, which is absolutely insane. However, there were also a number of features and quite interesting things removed from the game before they released it, and some of these would have had a huge impact on the game. So let's have a look at some of the removed text, characters, locations, and more. The UI album folder contains the memory location images taken by Zelda, and it has one peculiar unused image. Link is seen doing a pose next to Zelda in what seems like the other past memories. However, he's wearing the Hero of the Wilds hat and tunic rather than the Champion's tunic. The length of the sleeve and design on the cufflink were revised for the finished game, rolled up slightly, and a thinner version of the pattern is seen in the unused image. The gold trim on his hat is a more subdued green in the final game, likely to distinguish it from resembling the hat in the 8-bit Amiibo Link armor set, which has a similar gold trim. Now, the JPEG metadata also differs a bit from the other images. Clearly a bit of a weird one. One could think that Link was meant to wear this tunic sometime earlier in the development, but looking at the first trailer shown to the public, this picture just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
We aren't quite sure why they would have used this, and what Link is even doing. It seems like some weird hand gesture. Maybe Naruto? The location doesn't look familiar as well. It could be somewhere near the Shrine of Resurrection, however, we aren't sure. A bit of a vague picture to be honest, and we have no clue what they were planning to do with this. Besides this picture, there is also one of an earlier design of a certain divine beast. And in this shot, there are some interesting changes. It's called Enemy Guardian Mini Junior Dark, and shows the earlier design of Vana Boris. You can see many differences, including an earlier version of Malice and the lighting. The photo is intended as an entry for the Guardian Sentry taken over by Ganon, however, it later went unused in the final game. You can see that the Malice is a lot more stylized and uses a ton of lighting effects that were also seen around Hyrule Castle in the final game. It could be that they removed it because it demanded too much from the console, or even glitched it to an extent. We already saw that at certain points in the game the frame rate had problems, so maybe the same happened here. It could also be a battery issue, of course. It's also a handheld after all. There's also another option here. Maybe it was too visually distracting and over the top, so they removed it. Now, besides pictures, there are also some areas in the game that you can't get to that have something special. Like unused flowers that can be found out of bounds inside the Great Deku Tree, which has a partially modeled room, and also underneath the Yiga clan hideout. It's possible that these were either an Easter egg by the developers, or a way of marking areas to test in the development process. Another thing that can be seen outside the boundaries is in the test of strength shrines, where an enormous pit or room seems to be located underneath the floor. It extends past the walls of the arena and connecting rooms above ground, and is sometimes separated from the main playing area by another layer of small pits and walls the player can walk through. This was probably nothing since it's extremely messy and buggy. Well, it looks like nothing to us at least, just an empty room. There's only one purpose it could have really, multiple floors that they wanted to put in these shrines, but didn't use in the end. Now it doesn't end here, because there are more weird rooms. Behind the locked door at the top of Hyrule Castle is also a hidden one. However, this door never opens in normal gameplay, so the purpose of the room behind it is unknown. There isn't a lot in the room and it's also quite small. Most likely a possible route they wanted to add in the castle, but ended up blocking because it wasn't used.
Now let's move on to something completely different. In the files there's also some text that wasn't used, and it was for something quite interesting. A file in the folder layout message contains all the text used on the HUD while playing the game, such as the pop-up notifications, locations, and boss names. And entry 28 contains a rather interesting message. It says, "The Master Sword returned to the forest." This notification is used when the Master Sword is dropped, which is normally impossible without glitches. It's not clear when or how this would have been used, but it is possible that the Master Sword would have returned to the Korok forest after running out of energy. This was probably done as the Master Sword would lose its worth the more the player plays the game, and instead of redesigning the break function, they just added a different behavior to trigger once it ran out of energy, leaving the original destroy function, which led to the Master Sword returning to the forest, technically in the game. Now there are also some things in the game that are just odd, probably little mistakes they made during the development. There are 3 chests that are unobtainable by any means. The Sheikah Sensor Plus will detect them, but there is no way to open them. First up, Hateno Village. This one is detected in front of the inn in Hateno Village, but it's nowhere to be seen. It's possible that this chest was accidentally positioned below the terrain, causing it to fall into the void as soon as it spawns. Second, Aris Beach. In the ocean to the east there's a chest that's buried into the ground, but unlike the other chests, cannot be pulled up with magnesis. Third and final, Rasla Lake. Similar to Hateno Village, there's a chest detected in Rasla Lake which is nowhere to be seen and probably suffers the same fate as its brother. Clearly they forgot about some things here and there and left in some imperfections. However, almost every game has this. Considering how many things the game went through though, that was almost to be expected, and it's rather impressive how well this game runs on the Wii U and how few things there are to be found after such a long development cycle. So thank you for watching our little video. Does anyone actually check these outro cards? Hello? Oh, you pressed the button already. Oh, then I'll just wait here till next week.